Hello, my name's Butler and I'm going to do today Animal Nitrate by Suede. I remember coming up with the riff for it early 92 it must have been. Yeah, early 92 in rehearsal. Playing it a few times over. I made the mistake of playing a song that was a complete piece of music, which is this is always quite a sort of one of those things that can go wrong with singers. If you play a complete piece of music without them being involved in it, because it can go wrong. Because I find people can be sort of overawed by that, and so it's better when people are involved at an earlier stage and with the vocals and the lyrics and the melody, and the song develops together. But this is quite an odd one because when I played it, I remember Brett kind of not really getting it, and I played it with the band in rehearsal. Lots of the other tunes at that time I played to him before they got to rehearsal room, and but this one played it around with the band, and for quite a few months he just wasn't into it, or he just didn't get it, or couldn't come up with something for whatever reason. Inspiration at the time was totally secretly Smells Like Teen Spirit. Well, the funny thing is about the riff, I haven't played this riff. I genuinely can say that to this day, I haven't played this song since the last time I played it in Suede. So I had to kind of think about it this morning and try and remember what the hell it was. But this is the guitar I played it on. 1980 Heritage Les Paul, really love it, through a Vox AC30, which is the one I'm using today. It's exactly the same setup, so this is exactly as it was. The funny thing about it is the riff at the start is pretty memorable. It's kind of a memorable part of the song, but it's the only time you hear the riff in the song. You don't hear it again after that. So the riff is really simple. It's just basically if you were to play some chords, B minor, G, E minor, just sort of basic minor chord descending thing. But instead of strumming it, I'm just taking a little melody here that goes, and then it goes, each chord does the same thing, and then to the G. And it's just supposed to be like a vocal melody, it's the kind of thing that you could sing, really, you know. Which is what I thought Teen Spirit is, one of those things you just want to sing along to, even though it was a guitar part. So that's all it was at the start. And it was just that's all it is, layered up with, I think there's about 3 or 4 guitars doing it. And I remember there being a Rickenbacker 12 string, which I've never used since. I don't really like them. I remember using one of those in desperation. And this guitar, my 355, all layered up, and there's kind of like a sort of flange effect on it as well. Then when the vocal comes in, it changes to this, so it just does basically the same chords, but the riff changes to. So all it is playing the same part, it's just saying, if I had an acoustic guitar, I guess I'd just strum it like. But I didn't want to do that, and I kind of at the time had a bee in my bonnet about people just kind of strumming guitars and they didn't mean anything at all. So I found the most direct, sort of brutal way of bringing the chords across. It's not hard to play, but it's just you just play, dig in on the. It's like a drum part where you do boom, kick and the snare. So you dig in on the bass note, which is there, and then on the snare it'd be you pull on the top, and then you do that on the A, you go, and then you play this down bottom thing. Takes you to the chorus. I was the only guitar player in the group. The only sort of added extras you get to use are things like an effect pedal. So I used to use a Boss Turbo distortion, which is down here. But the other great thing about Les Pauls is that there's a totally different tone to the pickups, and particularly this guitar when I got it, it was just had a really brilliant contrast between the mellow, using this front pickup here, it's the rhythm pickup, and the treble pickup, which is the back one, which is sharp and trebly and really bright, and there's quite a contrast between the two, and I used to use that so that in the verse part it would always be on that. And then when it went to the chorus, I'd flick to the middle pickup and put on the turbo distortion and it went kind of a bit more mellow and fuzzy, so you get this sound. So basically the chorus part is, these are the chords, it's just D, sounds kind of Beatlesy or something like that, you know, and that's all it is, B minor. When you play the lead parts, I kind of play this semitone thing where it moves up between the D major and the G to make it sound a little bit sort of nerdy is the only way of describing it, and slightly odd, and which is the nature of kind of what we were at the time. And so I'd play it like this, so I saw you playing going between a D chord and a G chord, but I'm just playing these three notes. If anyone can spot the TV show that comes from, it wasn't my fault. But anyway, moving on, that's not how I played it. I got into this thing again because I was the only guitar player in the group. There wasn't a rhythm guitar player. When I went in the studio I could put 15 guitars behind a rhythm and a lead and play it, but I couldn't do that live, so I got into the habit of learning how to play a lead part of my left hand but strumming with my right hand. So it'd be kind of like a rhythm, but you'd get this big sound because all the strings were going like that all the time. So you'd get... and then you'd have that bend at the neck at the end. So it's anything you can find when you're a guitar player, you find any kind of stupid thing, and a lot of them are kind of really kind of mechanical techniques, and you think all you have to do is pull the neck back a bit and it makes this amazing sound, and that's all you have to do. It's really not that hard. The solo kind of is kind of like the verse part, the chords change a little bit. It's one of those things when I did it, I didn't really actually write the chords under it, just came up with a part and kind of worried about the chords later. But there's a solo that starts in the B minor, so it goes. And that's how bad I played it live, genuinely. In fact, that's probably better than I used to play it.